Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm Terra Harvell, founder and CEO of Harper Ellis Hair Co., a hairstylist turned multimillionaire. Over the past decade, I've scaled a multi-million-dollar, highly profitable salon and built an 8-figure extension and education platform, Harper Ellis Hair Co. I'm also the founder of Strata Salon Systems, a salon infrastructure that is actively disrupting this industry. Some people love me for it, and some people absolutely hate me for it. But I'm on a mission to give stylists and salon owners a different future than what this industry has historically offered, which is being overworked, underpaid, no real wealth, and a career that breaks your body with nothing to show for it at the end. And now I'm on a mission to expand that impact through owners and stylists who are willing to question everything that they've been told. This podcast is where I share what's actually working, from business strategy to leadership to building real wealth in the beauty industry. Let's go. I want to start with a question that most salon owners have never actually done the math on. If I asked you right now, what does your average stylist make per hour when they're doing a color service versus an extension service, could you even answer that? Not the price of the service and not even the profit margin of the actual service, the hourly rate or even the hourly profit that they produce while doing that service. Because here's the thing that nobody talks about. We obsess in this industry over profit margin, and we almost never talk about the timing that it takes the service provider to do the service. And time is the one resource that none of us can create more of. You can't hire your way out of a full book. You can't discount your way into more hours in the day. Every stylist has the same ceiling, the number of hours they can physically stand at behind the chair. So today I want to walk you through the real math behind this, the math that explains why some of your stylists are stuck at that $120,000 a year, no matter how hard they work, and why extensions, not color, not a better retail push, and not a better booking system are actually the lever that gets a stylist to that $250,000 to $300,000 mark. Let's get into it. So here's a scenario that I see in almost every salon that comes into Strata Salon Systems or we start consulting. You've got a stylist who is book solid, back to back. Owner is thrilled. She's so busy and she's just crushing it. I want her to be the next leader in my salon. But when you actually break down her day to day, she's doing $200, $250 color services back to back all day long. She sounds great on the surface. She's busy, she's making the money, or so you think, and the salon's making the money, or so you think, but you're not scaling, and you cannot figure out why. You can't make more profit, you can't get past a certain mark, you've plateaued, but let's do the math that nobody else does. If that color service takes 2.5 hours, color, process, cut, style, and she's charging, let's just say, $225 for it, she's making around $90 an hour. That's her revenue per hour. Not her take home, her top line revenue. Now, let's put an extension client in that same chair. A quality extension service, a full head application, cut, blend, you're charging around $1,800 to $3,000 for that. And on top of that, you could even add color. But let's just say it takes her 4 hours because she's trained and she's pretty fast. That's $450 to $750 an hour in revenue. Some of our most efficient stylists inside of Strata's training are hitting $500 an hour or more once they are fully trained and dialed in on their timing. Same chair, same hours in the day, completely different number. I mean, completely different number. This is the part where salon owners miss. We look at ticket price and we look at margin, but we don't look at revenue per hour. And revenue per hour is what determines whether your salon can actually scale, because you cannot add more hours in the day. That's the one thing that we just cannot control. You can only make the hours you have worth more. So if your top stylist is doing $90 an hour, working all day, she's capped, full stop. She can be the hardest worker in your building and she will hit a ceiling that has nothing to do with her effort. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking because I hear it constantly, but color is more profitable. The profit margin is higher. The cost of color is much smaller than extensions. Sure, let's actually talk about that because that is where most salon owners get the math backwards. Yes, extensions cost more in product than color does. Nobody is arguing that. But the profit margin as a percentage means nothing if you're not looking at it against the actual dollar amount that's sitting on top of that. Here's the question I want every owner listening to this to actually sit with. Would you rather make 50% of $200 or 10% of $1,500? Just say that out loud to yourself. 50% of $200 is $100. 10% of $1,500 is $150. The lower margin, higher ticket service just made you more actual money in your pocket than the higher margin, lower ticket service. We get so trained in this industry to chase the margin percentage that we forget margin percentage isn't what pays your bills. Dollars pay your bills. Real dollars sitting in your bank account is what scales a business, not a percentage on a spreadsheet that looks good in a meeting. I mean, think about Walmart. I think they're like 0.002% profitable, but they have a multi-billion dollar company. I would much rather have that company over my 28% profitable business that's at $1.5 million. Just do the math, you guys. So when someone tells me extensions aren't profitable as color, what they've actually done is stop the math at one step too early. They calculated the percentage and never carried it to the dollar. That's not a profitability problem. That's just a math problem. And once you fix the math, the whole conversation about should we do extensions changes completely. Now let's zoom out from a single appointment to the full year, because that is where it gets really uncomfortable for a lot of salons and salon owners. Take your average color client. They come in every 6 weeks, you hope. That's roughly 8 to 9 visits a year, spending somewhere around $200 to $250 a visit. Do that math out, and you're looking at an annual value of about $2,000 to $3,000. Now take your average extension client. She's coming back to you for move-ups and maintenance roughly every 8 weeks. It's a lot harder to cancel a grown-out extension appointment than a grown-out color appointment, I promise you. So much more loyal clients. And they come in about 6 visits a year. But she's spending $1,200 to $1,500 on move-ups with the initial install running $1,800 to $3,000, plus retail along the way. Run that across the year and you're about $7,000 to $8,000 in annual value in one single client. And before you even say it, because I know you're already thinking about it, there is no way that our clients would pay those kind of prices for those services. Listen, my salon runs about $1.4 to $5 million this year is what we're projected to hit, and we're at 28% profitability through only, I think, 6 to 7 stylists, actually 6 stylists. So yes, they will, but also we're in a town of 80,000 people. The median household income in our town is $35,000. Like, there are people with money everywhere. So stop meeting your problems in your salon with a low belief lid. Just because you don't believe that they will doesn't mean that that's actually true. It's just what you think and what you've believed. So if you would change that mindset, you'd probably change your marketing and your voice and your messaging, and you would start to attract the people that actually wants to spend that on their hair, because they are out there and there are people with money in every single town. So back to the extension client, that's one client, one chair, one relationship, and she's worth 2 to 3 times what your color client is worth, while visiting less often, which means less chair time consumed for that dollar value. And here's where it gets real for a lot of owners. If you are stacking low annual value color clients on top of each other week after week, filling every hour with $2,000 a year clients instead of $7,000 a year clients, you are not understaffed. You are undermarketed. You are undermonetized and honestly just underutilized. Your book is full of the wrong math, and no amount of extra hours or extra advertising or extra stylists, because stylists cost you more money, fixes that. And that is not how you scale or become more profitable. You need higher value clients in the chairs you already have. This is the conversation I have with owners constantly. We're busy, but we're not profitable. Of course you're not. Busy was never the goal. Busy with the wrong ticket price just means you've built a very efficient system for just staying capped. So let's talk about why your best stylist is maybe stuck at that $120,000 in revenue mark. Let's connect this directly to your team, because this is where owners start to see their own stylist differently. Inside of our Extension School of Business, which is a course inside of Harper Ellis, we map out the actual economics of a stylist book. I learned early on that this is not something that is taught out there in the world of hair at all, and how many color clients versus extension clients it takes to hit different income levels. And here's the pattern that shows up almost every single time. A stylist is doing primarily color, and smaller ticket service hits a natural ceiling at around $120,000 a year. Not because they're not working hard, not because they're not talented, it's the math of their book. The churn rate and the ticket price simply cannot carry them past that number, no matter how full their schedule is, or even if they add on like an extra day. To build a $250,000 to $300,000 book, the math requires a different mix. A base of extension clients generating that higher per visit and per year value, layered with color and maintenance work filling in all around it. This is the conversation that changes everything for a stylist once they actually see the numbers for themselves. It's not about working harder. It's not about adding more hours. It's about which hours are worth what and shifting the mix of what's sitting in the chairs. And I want to be clear about something because this is important. Most stylists are capped at $120,000 are not underperforming. They are maximizing the wrong service mix. And that's not a talent problem. That's a training and positioning problem. And that's a completely fixable problem. I can't end this podcast without talking about what I hear constantly from salon owners. We just don't do extensions. It's just not our thing. We don't want to specialize in that. It causes a lot of damage and objection after objection. And listen, that's a valid business decision if it's actually a strategic one. But let's be honest about what's usually underneath that statement, because I hear that tone every single time. It's not strategy, it's just fear. You're scared to roll out something new. You're scared to have to train someone in someone new. New skill sets are uncomfortable. I understand that. Retraining a team feels like a risk. Owners worry about the investment and then the learning curve, whether their stylists will even want to do it. I completely understand that discomfort, and it's real and it's valid. But here's what I need you to sit with. A broken belief about a service built on discomfort and not real data is currently capping your entire business, and it's why you're not scaling past a certain mark, and it's why you will continue to plateau. You're not avoiding extensions because the math doesn't work. You're avoiding extensions because something new feels too risky. And that fear is costing you the exact scale you say that you want. So let's talk about how Harper Ellis and Strata actually solves this problem. This is exactly why Strata Salon Systems and Harper Ellis exist, because knowing the math isn't the hard part. Implementing it is. We don't just teach the technique, we teach the why. So your stylist, not just you as the owner, we teach your stylist, they actually understand what this does for their own income, not just what it does for you and your bottom line as the owner. When a stylist sees their own path from $120K to $250K, she's not being told to learn something new. She's choosing to, because she sees the results that it does for her in her own life, or him in his own life. Then we teach the speed, because the entire model falls apart if someone takes 6 hours or 7 hours to do what should only take 3. Training isn't just can they do it, it's can they do it fast enough that the hourly math actually holds up. That's what the Extension School of Business is built around, the economics of the book, the timing, the technique, and the mindset all together to be able to build a book that valuable. We take the pressure off of you as the owner. You don't have to be the one convincing your team or figuring out the curriculum. We paint the vision. We build the skill. We hand you back a team that understands exactly why this is the highest leverage move available to them. So here's what I want you to walk away with. Stop asking if this service is profitable. Start asking, what is my revenue per hour and what is my annual value per client? Those two numbers will tell you more about your salon's ceiling than any P&L line item. Your team isn't capped because they're not working hard enough. They're capped because of the math sitting inside of their books and inside of their chair. And that math is completely within your control to change. If you're ready to actually see what this shift looks like in your salon, the real numbers, the real training path, that's exactly what we do inside of Strata and Harper Ellis.